What's up? It's Artemiy, this is Drag Times, and tonight we have a brand new Rolls Royce Ghost. Whenever car makers create a new model, they always put an idea into it. The main idea of the new Rolls Royce Ghost can be described as a post-opulent. What did they mean by it? Being a best-in-class Rolls-Royce Phantom is perceived as some kind of luxury thing, a car to go out. So, even when they made first generation of Rolls-Royce Ghost, first of all, they created a car. Yeah, it's still a Rolls-Royce, but basically it's a vehicle, a car that you can use every day. The car you can go out with your friends, take them for a ride, or go to have a dinner without a driver. And the new Ghost generation, which we are riding now, has continued this tradition. The British presume the target audience for the new Rolls-Royce sedan either youngsters or the people who do not want to brag of their money. That is, the people who appreciate luxury and comfort, but do not like to shout it out to everybody. For that reason, the new Ghost is mainly discreet. Unlike the Peacock, it doesn't show off its tail to everyone. But mind you, this is a Rolls-Royce sobriety. Therefore, we are definitely not talking about any modesty. And if the new Ghost is a post-opulent, then it's the post-opulent by the new Rolls-Royce Phantom standards. Let's start with the most common thing, the size of the car. The old Ghost was huge enough, but this car is even longer by 9 centimeters, 5.5 meters in a short base. If you take the prolonged version, the length is 270 meters. This car still feels huge on the road. And I'm not talking about the steering input. Actually, the steering here is more than pleasant for such an elephant. It is huge from physical standpoint. Wow, amazing. Say something, just say something. In order to avoid prooflessness, we will conduct a small experiment. Here we draw a level with the car to the left, and we are almost on the same level. Which car do you think this is? This is Land Rover Discovery. When you drive a Rolls-Royce Ghost, common sedans look like low sports cars to you. And small SUVs, like this Toyota, you look at them on a par, even a little downward. Yes, the Rolls-Royce Ghost is a sedan in which even an SUV looks like a small car to you. And I'm not talking about the seated height only. Overall, the car is huge, but it's probably worth it. Such size makes you think you're on a yacht. Once again, we compare Rolls-Royce to a yacht. Well, what else you can compare it with? Moreover, the engineers should be praised because they increased the length pretty wisely. They didn't increase the overhangs, they moved the front axle forward. That's why the engine is now closer to the center and the weight distribution is perfect, 50-50. At first glance, when you see the Rolls-Royce Ghost, one might think engineers cheated and they did nothing. One can say, that's an old Rolls-Royce in which they simply put new head and tail lights. Not so, this is a brand new car. A new platform. For the first time, an all-wheel drive sedan from Rolls-Royce. All body panels are made of aluminium. The main task was to create a car with minimum number of joints. Post-opulent, humble and discreet. Yes, I'm a completely new car, but I will not shout about it. And these words are not just bumper stickers. Let's talk about noise insulation, for example. Do you want attention to the detail? See for yourself. Rolls-Royce engineers were worried that the climate control was making too much noise from the air duct in the cabin. Noise from the air. So what did they do? They polished the inside of the air duct so that there was less noise. This car has more than 100 kilos of soundproof materials. Such quietness was the outcome that they had to add special panels and cameras inside the driver and passenger seats, inside the rear panel and inside the car doors, so that the car could resonate a little. Otherwise, it turned out that the person inside the car felt uncomfortable. It was too quiet inside. Honestly, when I read stuff like this, I usually take it with a grain of salt. But this time I have to admit that the sound insulation is really up to the mark. Sound insulation is not the only base on which the whole impression of the Rolls-Royce Ghost is built. Suspension, for example. It's a unique suspension called planar. because Rolls-Royce has to fly like a plane. There is no such system even in New Cullinan or Phantom. How does it work? First of all, there are billions of sensors that read all the information on the road, and when necessary, they prepare the car to ride over a bump. Also, dampers were added to the upper wishbones to make the car soar. In order to make passengers feel the maximum comfort, the new Ghost doesn't mind to use technology. What does this car do? It uses GPS, it opens the map and sees that, for example, after 30 meters the road will go up. It turns the necessary gear in advance and adjusts the suspension. Adaptive pneumatic struts. There is also a four-wheel steering, a steering rear axle. All these aspects create the image of the new Rolls Royce Ghost, the image of a respectable grown-up car. Engine is huge here also, an almost 7-liter V12 twin-turbo. Rev this huge engine to 1600 RPM and you get up to 850 Newton meters of drive torque, 570 horsepower. This car is definitely not a lazy one. Acceleration to 100 in 4.8 seconds. What is most pleasant and most surprising as well, new Ghost is not harsh and arrogant. It covers and envelopes you with its power. Pedal to the metal and you start to soar. The car price starts from $300,000 in Russia. If you equip it with options, it will approximately cost $400,000 plus minus 30 grand. Well, a trifle, a change. When you buy a car for such huge amount of money, everything should be perfect. But still there are some drawbacks, albeit minor ones. For example, and here you are in the back. At the bow seat the whole car feels slightly different. There are still no complaints about noise insulation. As if you find yourself in a single quiet room, plus the curtains and a comfortable padded headrest, it would seem that everything is perfect. Unfortunately, it's not the case. First, the seat itself. It's still vertical in the spirit of Rolls-Royce. I don't know why this is always the case in British cars. Bentley has it as well, by the way. Maybe they think that to lie back lazily in a seat just like you can do inside a Maybach, it's unfit for the aristocrat, but I don't get it. Why I have to pay 300 grand for the car and couldn't be able to sit comfortably and drown in a seat? Moreover, you are not only sitting upright. Small secondary wobbling stays always. The car goes over a bump, everything seems to be fine, but then it shakes a passenger at the rear seat a little. It doesn't go anywhere. But just like in Cullinan, you can always distract yourself here. Automatic table, multimedia. That is, with regard to this stuff, there is nothing to complain about. Rolls-Royce has always been renowned for the feeling of high cost. They do not save on materials. Again, we're talking about post-opulence. There is nothing flashy inside. The car does not shout, "Hey, look at me, I'm luxurious!" Just like the Bentley Continental GT or Bentley Flying Spur would do. And honestly, the Rolls-Royce approach suits me much better. The most revolutionary change in the interior is the new dashboard. They continued the idea of a starry sky and now it appears on a dashboard. Rolls-Royce claims that this panel has 850 lights. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4... 849, 850... Yeah, they were right. Probably this is the most flashy and bright detail in the interior. Otherwise, the car is restrained. For example, I'm not a big fan of the current trend of lighting everything inside the car. Mercedes, BMW, Bentley. All car manufacturers proudly claim we have a million interior lighting colors. We have it on the ceiling, we have it on the doors, we have it everywhere. You can stick it up to your face. As a result, at some point, the car starts to look like a Christmas tree set from the 90s. Here in New Ghost, the backlight is muted. Maybe even too muted. For example, the door backlight is working now. Even if we turn off the light, we will hardly see it. I never thought I would say this. The phrase itself seems controversial, but I would add more backlight to Rolls-Royce. Of course, I'm kidding. But seriously, a little more backlighting would be useful. But don't be disappointed by the Rolls-Royce discreet interior. The car is crammed with options. This is climate control, heating, message option in each of the seats, heads-up displays, automatic parking, full-fledged iDrive multimedia front and rear made in Rolls-Royce fashion. This car has everything that a premium limousine must have. Probably the only thing I haven't talked about yet is how this car handles. This is a Rolls-Royce, which means it floats smoothly down the road. It doesn't feel rolly as you might think initially. It is laid back and calm, but at the same time you can feel the enormous power under the pedal. The 8-speed gearbox provides no discomfort when accelerating or braking. You just don't feel these changes. That is to say, despite the size of new Ghost, it is quite easy to steer. This wraparound power undoubtedly plays a big role. You always feel the resolve of the torque. This is one of those sedans that came to score 10 out of 10 a little closer than others. The only thing I would advise to the new Rolls-Royce Ghost is to check the comfort of the passengers in the rear. Although, back to the car maker's philosophy, it may not be necessary. After all, Rolls-Royce promotes the Ghost as a car that can and should be driven. This car is definitely one of the best the market can offer. Are you overpaying for the brand name? Sure thing, it's a symbol of opulence. And with the new Ghost, you're buying a post-opulence symbol. It was Artemiy, Drag Times Test Drive, and a new Rolls Royce Ghost.